50 rushing yards in that football game in Stillwater. And Arkansas did a lot of things really well offensively. I think the Taylor Green, Jaquindon Jackson 1-2 punch is going to be fun this year. And I do think they have an actual identity on both sides of the ball. But when you have the ball security issues and when you make some of those decisions down the stretch, not necessarily kicking the field goal and instead trying to go for it, I realized that you had missed a kick earlier from that spot, but that was one that came back to bite Sam Pittman. And, yeah, it definitely was one of those games where Arkansas fans like, how in the world did we lose that game? Mike Gundy kneeled from the 40 to set up a 41-yard field goal in overtime, and Arkansas still lost that game.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like Gundy, I'll never understand why any coach will ever just trust his college kicker. Like, just think, oh, no, we're good. Right here, we're good. It makes no sense to me. But that's the thing, like, and when you talk about the time management and decision, again, this isn't a first-year head coach, and you got Bobby Petrino, as veteran as anybody over there, the offensive coordinator, and, like, they're like time management and just they didn't seem to have a clue, like, what was going on.
Yeah, the Taylor Green time, like clock awareness down the stretch was not particularly inspiring. That was literally, you could hear the entire state of Arkansas going, snap the football, what are you doing? Like, you need the sense of urgency. The clock stops briefly for a first down, but it doesn't stop the whole time. There were some questionable decisions. And look, I love Sam Pittman. I think he's the most likable coach in college football. That comes back to the head coach. It just does. And there are some of those decisions that just continue to hurt Arkansas, and it becomes tougher and tougher to defend. So while I'd love to sit here and tell you, yeah, I think Arkansas showed that they can be like a 7-5 team this year, and they can find a way to navigate with this identity. Bobby Petrino still got it. Taylor Green is fun. I can't sit here and say that if they're still struggling to win these close games.
That's the thing that I'm torn, because I said in our predictions, like I thought the year was just going to completely be a disaster for Arkansas. Like, I just saw it unraveling, and they're just not good. But then I watched, and I'm like, okay, they had Oklahoma State beat on the road, as you said. Ollie Gordon couldn't do anything. Jaquindon Jackson looks fantastic. All this stuff. So I'm like, am I wrong? Like, is Arkansas going to be a lot maybe better than I thought? But then I go, what? But they still found a way to lose the game, so maybe I'm still right about Arkansas.
Exactly. There was a lot of confirmation bias, kind of whatever narrative you wanted to spin of Arkansas. It was pretty much there for the taking on Saturday.
I did not see that South Carolina result against Kentucky. I didn't see that one coming. I could have been right there with binoculars on, looking down on it, and I still couldn't see it. I'm befuddled by the way Kentucky got pushed around by South Carolina.
Me too. I mean, Kentucky was a 10-point favorite after, look, I mean, take it for what it is. It was Southern Miss in a weird opener where they had multiple lightning delays, and they ultimately ended the game in the middle of the third quarter. But Kentucky looked really good in that season opener a week earlier, and they came into this one against South Carolina expecting to be able to hold up with that offensive line, and they were hoping to be able to establish some balance. And my God, did they not. I mean, that South Carolina pass rush is legit. I mean, if you haven't seen Dylan Stewart, the true freshman, rushing off the edge, you're going to say to yourself, there's no way that kid is 18 years old. Give me a birth certificate. That is physically impossible to do the things he's doing. Kyle Kennard coming in from Georgia Tech as well. Like, they have an actual identity with what they're trying to do up front, and Kentucky had no answer for it whatsoever. Brock Vandegrift had 3 completions in this game, and I don't even remember when they were. I mean, it was that bad for the Kentucky offense, totally overmatched, and they really had no chance. And to see that play out where Shane Beamer has now had 3 consecutive victories against Mark Stoops, and the rivalry that used to favor Stoops in every way for that 9-year stretch where he only lost South Carolina twice. It was like every year South Carolina's going to be favored, and then Stoops is going to show up pissed off, and he's going to find a way to beat South Carolina. That has totally changed and turned around, and maybe it speaks to the end of the Stoops era in Kentucky. I do think that it does feel like the beginning of the end there. That was just a dreadful performance by Kentucky and a really inspired performance by South Carolina on the road.
I don't remember exactly where you were as far as Tennessee is concerned in the preseason and your expectations, but where are you now on Tennessee?
I wasn't high enough, and I wasn't high enough because I had Tennessee going 8-4. I'm a Nico believer. I said I think Nico Iamaleava is going to lead a top 5 offense in college football. I think everything that Tennessee fans hope he's going to be, I think he will be. So I had that playing out, but my concern was that defense on the back end. 5 new pieces in that secondary. All their defensive backs who played at least, I think it was 350 snaps last year, were gone. How is that going to look with Tim Banks' defense? Because, yeah, you have an awesome defensive line, and you should be able to get pressure with James Pierce Jr. and Amari Thomas. But what's it going to look like with all those new pieces? Well, if you just win all those one-on-ones up front, you really don't have to worry about that. And they're kind of living proof that, man, if you can generate pressure and you can do so in a variety of ways, you are darn difficult to beat. And it's fascinating because, the big knock on Josh Heupel, for those that remember the UCF days, even the Mizzou days, we used an offensive coordinator there, was, and I don't know that this guy's going to ever be able to have complementary football. That defense is always going to be out there longer than anybody else in college football with what they want to do with tempo on offense. And how is that defense going to respond? Well, I'll tell you what, they have depth in spades. And there's a reason why that group has not allowed an offensive touchdown yet. So I am unbelievably impressed with Tennessee. I think they're legitimately, firmly in that 12-team playoff discussion. I think I ranked them number 5 in my top 25 this week that we do for SDS. So I am bullish more now than ever after what they did to NC State.
Yeah, I was very bullish on him before the season started. I haven't beaten Alabama. I have him in the playoffs. So far, so good, but a long way to go. He's Connor O'Gara, senior national columnist for Saturday Down South, host of the Saturday Down South podcast, joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. All right, let's take a look at some of the action coming up this week. Florida hosts Texas A&M, and if I'm not mistaken, Billy Napier said yesterday that he's going to play both his quarterbacks, DJ Lagway, who was great last week, and Graham Mertz, who was concussed in week 1. What about playing 2 quarterbacks?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And look, take that for what it is, because Billy said the entire offseason there was going to be a package for DJ Lagway. And then in the opener, we didn't really see it until Graham Mertz got hurt. So make of that what you will.
His package was a Mertz concussion. That's the Mertz concussion package.
Golly, I don't think anybody saw that. Like, to Mertz's credit, as much as I've kind of criticized him throughout his career, going back to when he came into Wisconsin, it just never really worked there, and it worked much better last year. Like, he's been really durable, so I guarantee you Billy Napier did not see that scenario playing out in the opener. But what I've been saying this whole time is, like, guys, when Mertz is healthy, Billy Napier is going back to Graham Mertz. And that is a tough pill to swallow, especially when we see all of those skills that DJ Lagway has on display, where he just lights up that Samford defense and does things that would have been impressive against air. And it's difficult to watch that and know that you're going back to Graham Mertz, who, let's be honest, yes, he's more experienced. There are things that he's going to do that DJ Lagway can't do just yet in terms of reading defenses, but the upside is just not the same. It's just not. And so that's going to be the difficult thing for Florida to kind of manage moving forward, is like, how do you approach this if Mertz struggles against that really good A&M defensive line? Will we see DJ Lagway come in? Is the leash now shorter? It better be, because the sense of urgency just has to be there. If it's not, Billy Napier is just basically writing his own buyout check.
That's like, to me, it just makes no sense to go back to Mertz, because if I'm him, I'm thinking, like, I got to try and win over the fan base a little bit, give some reason of hope. I can't imagine any Florida fan that's like, oh, yes, we need to go back to Graham Mertz. That's going to be our key to this season to do what? I don't even know. Yeah,
you're right, Eli. And look, I think Billy's looking at this from the standpoint of, man, if I can play my cards right, this is going to set up really well for 2025. And everybody and their mother is going, 2025? What do you mean? You're not saying 2025 if you keep playing like this. If you keep rolling out Graham Mertz, you're not even going to have a chance to put in DJ Lagway to be your starter. So I think Billy sees it differently because, let's be honest, he has this faith, he has this belief, and I think that we're all struggling to see it, especially after the way that things played out against Miami.
Ole Miss is on the road at Wake Forest. I get it's on the road. 23 points just does not seem like nearly enough for Wake Forest against this Ole Miss offense right now.
Yeah, and how about the Ole Miss defense, which is, I think, number 1 in the country against the run, too. And Pete Golding, for all the criticism that he faced during his time at Alabama, I think that's kind of quietly been a huge hire for Lane Kiffin, is the job that he's done with all these moving pieces via the transfer portal. And, yes, the competition has been weak so far. We'll see how that plays out over the course of the next few weeks. But so far, so good, man. And I was banging the drum for Trey Harris a lot this offseason. I said, this guy is one of the 5 best receivers in college football. The gap between he and Luther Burden is not as significant as some would make it out to be. and he's been fantastic. I mean, he's got like 100 more receiving yards than anybody in the SEC through 2 games. He is just a matchup nightmare, and when he is healthy and on that field, Jackson Dart has a true go-to receiver, and that is scary for a guy that's got a lot of other weapons to be able to work with. So, yeah, what Ole Miss has done so far is certainly passed any sort of eye test, albeit against weak competition. I would definitely expect that to continue against a Wake Forest pass defense that's, I think, bottom 25 in the country.
So Alabama, as you know, was taken down to the wire against USF and then ended up scoring a bunch of touchdowns in the end to make the score respectable. But anybody who watched that game knows it was a close game against USF. Now they have to go to Camp Randall. It's not a great Wisconsin team, but Alabama's favored by 16. Do you think they win and cover?
You know, my early lean is for Alabama to win, Wisconsin to cover. Just because that's a lot, man. That's a big number. And as much as I do think Wisconsin's very much a work in progress, it's still a really good defensive mind in Luke Fickell. And I worry about this Alabama offensive line, the lack of continuity they've had so far. They're shuffling pieces around. Caden Proctor, the left tackle, who was as Philip Dukes would call it, the boomerang transfer, going back and forth with Iowa. He has not been able to play yet, and I don't think he all of a sudden, rectifies their issues up front, but man, it was bad. Like, it was really, really bad. Tyler Booker's not playing in his natural position. They kicked him out to left tackle. They had issues galore on the right side of that offensive line. It was either a holding penalty or it was a big play that happened and you probably could have called a holding penalty. I mean, it was that bad on Saturday against USF. And credit Alex Golish, a guy that I'm extremely high on and someone that I think is going to have an SEC job in the very near future. But I do think that this is an Alabama team that's got a lot of questions to answer with their offensive identity, figuring out this marriage between Jalen Milroe and Kalen DeBoer. This is a fantastic test in an atmosphere that's one of the best in all of college football, even if it is kind of a rebuilding Wisconsin team.
Of the SEC teams that are playing non-conference games this week, which one do you think is in the most danger?
Ooh,
That's a good question. The SEC team that's playing. Okay, so if we're talking, see,
I think there's two. I think there's two right off the bat. I think Missouri could lose at home to Boston College, and I think Tulane could beat Oklahoma.
Okay, so that's. I was going to go in the direction of Mizzou being really intriguing because I look at that spread and I'm like, guys, I don't know. Like, Luther Burden left last week because of an illness. He's expected to return. They're still trying to figure out some things on the offensive side of the ball. And I think the defense has been phenomenal so far. But, like, Boston College has gotten off to a really nice start with Bill O'Brien and the things that they did to Florida State in the opener. Like, they're going to be really physical up front. I don't know that that's exactly a cakewalk for them. But, yeah, look, how can you not be concerned if you're an Oklahoma fan? Oklahoma fans spent 8 months telling everybody, guys, don't worry. We lost Dylan Gabriel to Oregon. We lost Jeff Lebby to Mississippi State. We're going to be just fine with Jackson Arnold, and we're going to be just fine with Seth Luttrell. Their receiver room and their offensive line has been wildly different than what we expected it to be. And they're already dealing with depth issues. Against a well-coached Tulane team with John Summerall coming in with this, I don't want to say chip on their shoulder after the way that things played out against Kansas State, but I do think that's kind of fair. Oklahoma's got to figure some things out. That gauntlet that awaits them starting next week with Tennessee, it gets real in a hurry, and they could very much be in jeopardy if they don't figure some things out against Tulane.
Final thing, I'm sure you watch, just like we do, those SEC shorts. Are you getting a kick out of the Vanderbilt guy walking around like the king?
I love it. Josh Need is great.
He is. He's been on our show. He is. He's fantastic.
He's the best. Look, I love Vandy having this moment, and just for a little, I always tell people, like, a little peek behind the curtain. I call it peel behind the onion. I don't know why we call it that, but definitely have tried to get Diego Pavia on my show this week to be able to discuss his unbelievable start. They ran out of fireworks, guys. They did not have enough fireworks for Diego Pavia. If that just doesn't tell the story, I don't know what does. Double-digit favorites on the road at Georgia State this week. I would expect Vandy to hit the over on 2.5 wins mid-September. How about that?
How about that? First three games. Hit the over first 3 games. He is Connor O'Gara, senior national columnist for Saturday Down South, host of the Saturday Down South podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. We will talk to you in 2 weeks. Thank you, my friend.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Connor.
I still don't know how many they're going to get after number 3, though.
I think they'll get 4. Ball State. But it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question that they can't beat Kentucky, maybe South Carolina. After that, the maximum on that schedule wins is 6. Maximum. But I don't know if they can get to 6. But right now they're playing really well. So you've seen the shorts, right? the little Vandy guy comes walking out of nowhere, just in the screen and then out of the screen, just like the champ he is.
It is great for Vandy to have their moment. There's not many.
Yes.
There hasn't been many moments.
Yes.
For Vanderbilt in their history in the SEC. It's good to have their moments. And you got to have them early in the year. Generally, they have to come early in the year. James Franklin, they had some moments later in the year when he was there, but generally, their moments come early in the season.
But I wonder how they feel, like in general, like don't patronize us, or thank you, yeah, give us a pat on the head here. We'll move along, but yeah, it's nice to be recognized the way they have been early in the season.
It's nice to be recognized with a special piece of jewelry for a special occasion. And if you're looking for that great gift with a piece of jewelry, well, Genesis Diamonds is the place to go. When you're thinking about getting engaged, you need to know at Genesis Diamonds, they've got all of those top designers. You may not have any idea about who those are or things, but she probably does. She knows who those top designers are, and they've got them all at Genesis Diamonds. And many places don't have any of those. They've got them all over at Genesis Diamonds, plus an amazing selection of diamonds for you to choose from. They're just going to be absolutely blowing your mind. Plus, anything, any budget, whatever it is, they're going to have something to fit that budget, and you're going to get a great value because it's direct importer pricing, no middleman, so reducing that markup, and then you're going to get a great value on that diamond for that beautiful engagement ring that she's going to be happy to wear. So go see them, Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. They've got a great staff over there to help you pick out that perfect diamond, that perfect ring that's going to be exactly what she's looking for and exactly what you're looking for. And it's going to be great to find something within your budget as well. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
A legendary voice has been quieted. We'll look back at the amazing career of James Earl Jones and his influence on a great baseball movie when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
For life's spectacular moments, only a real diamond will do. At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll discover a brilliant selection of natural diamonds, along with our promise of unmatched quality and service. The only real diamond is a natural diamond from Sissy's. Find yours when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Discover the natural diamond of your dreams only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone. All thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Getting engaged soon? Don't make her settle for one of those knockoff mass-produced rings you find at most jewelry stores. Get to Genesis Diamonds and get her that one-of-a-kind ring she really wants from a world-class designer. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine and Genesis Diamonds has the rings on
Welcome back, everyone. It was a life well lived, but a great voice has been quieted. At 93, the great James Earl Jones has passed away. Legendary actor, known for some amazing movies, but really known for that unbelievable voice, the set of pipes, as they say, the voice of Darth Vader. He was in the great baseball movie Sandlot, as I'm reminded by our friend Chuck Galena. Absolutely. He was an integral part of that movie, right? The guy whose dog was a factor with those kids on the Sandlot. He was the house behind the fence and all. But really, the role for me, the legendary role of Terrence Mann in the movie Field of Dreams. If you've never seen Field of Dreams, you need to rent it today. This was this 2-minute soliloquy, one of the greatest, I think, sports movie moments ever. This is the great James Earl Jones as Terrence Mann.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have, and peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. And sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game, and it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
People will come, Ray.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
Wow. I'm teary-eyed now listening to it. I get that way every time. I also get that way when what's the lead actor?
Kevin Costner.
Costner goes out there and want to have a catch with his dad. Get teary-eyed every time I see that, listen to that, but that unbelievable moment for about 2 minutes there with James Earl Jones is just absolutely incredible. And
his voice is just, it's so fantastic.
But the whole scene, if people remember that movie, the ghosts, if you will, the players who have passed come out of the cornfield. Now they're on the field. There were some already on the field playing, right? But others come out there, and then he crosses. You could hear his shoes on the dirt going onto the field. And that's Timothy Busfield. He keeps saying, sign the papers, because they're telling them they're going to foreclose on the farm. And at the very end, right after he said that, Busfield goes, Ray, where do these baseball players come from? So he obviously sees what they're seeing. But it's a great movie. Sandlot was a great movie. Obviously, his voice being Darth Vader. Luke, you are my father. No, I am your father. But anyway.
That I don't know, because I never saw any of those. But
yeah.
Coming to America. Was it Coming to America?
Yes.
It's awesome.
What was it, McDowell's? What was the rip-off of McDonald's? What was the
that's McDowell. Yeah, McDowell's, yeah.
McDowell's.
But no, he's one of them. I mean, it's one of the iconic voices of all time, for sure.
All time.
He's absolutely great.
Yeah. Well, anyway, glad we get to share that with you.
Did not know he was born in Arkabutla.
I did not know that either.
Born in Arkabutla, Mississippi.
Wow. Again, been in poor health for a number of years, but he will be sadly missed. Also, unfortunately, we talk about the passing of folks. I did not know this, and I'm not real familiar with him, sadly to say, but Clarence Jones passed away. This is according to a story from Parthu Pajai in the Daily Memphian. He was a member of the 72-73 National Championship runner-up Memphis Tigers team, Memphis State then, that lost to UCLA in that unbelievable performance from the late Bill Walton. But he was a member of the team, a very friendly guy from everything that I've read. Visitation is going to be on Friday and the celebration of his life on Saturday. So again, thank you, Parth, for writing that story. I was not familiar with him. Of course, I'm familiar with many of the bigger names from that team, but I'm sure a lot of you, especially that are older and know that team and are from Memphis, know the name Clarence Jones.
So with James Earl Jones being born in Mississippi can produce the voices. They got Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones, two of the most iconic voices there is, and they both born in Mississippi.
I would bet that you take Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana and you throw those three states and the people, the famous people, the sports figures, the entertaining people from entertainment, from music, and combine them all, it's going to be incredibly high as far as percentage compared to population. I know New Orleans is a big city, but for the most part, it's not a real populated state. Certainly Mississippi's not. Alabama's not. Compared to like a New York, California, and all that, I bet the percentage is extremely high of people that have had mad success in the entertainment field.
This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Go to biggreenegg.com. On the website, you could check out things such as which egg size is best for you. You could check out recipes. You could find all kinds of things about what you can make and what you can do with the Big Green Egg. Also, of course, the lifetime warranty. All of those types of things you can find on the website at biggreenegg.com. All of the information that you need to know. But you can also see it in person. See the different sizes of the egg. Pick out the size that's right for you by going to Ace Hardware stores here in town or Hamilton Fireplace. They are carriers, distributors of the Big Green Egg. And, of course, folks there can answer any questions you have. They've got all the egg accessories as well to see exactly what they've got, including their rubs and their sauces. Everything you need, the Big Green Egg has it for you. It's the best grill there is. Big Green Egg.
When we come back, we open up with Humdinger's Trivia. Then we talk NFL as we wrap up week number 1. That'll be followed by Jonah Dillon at 8:25 to talk some Tigers football, Tigers in Florida State this Saturday in Tallahassee. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get your tailgate season going now and win a free tailgate package from Buster's Butcher. Stop in Buster's Butcher, 199 South Highland Street, and register to win an Ice Mule Cooler, 4 Yeti Coasters, a $200 gift certificate, and some Buster's branded swag. Tailgate package valued at $500, no purchase necessary, 1 entry per person. Winner drawn 10 a.m. October 1st. Buster's Butcher offering the finest selection of curated meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Want to do something you can't do anywhere else? Then join me, your buddy Johnny Radio, at Top Gun Memphis this Thursday, 11 to 1, to experience the fully automatic machine gun package for just $99. It includes 3 different machine guns, ammo, range safety officer, and a shooting range. New to shooting or just need to learn? Top Guns Academy is nationally recognized, and memberships start at just $29.95 a month. Gun rentals are only $10. Join me this Thursday at Top Gun Memphis, 2770 Witten Road.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa setting. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Witten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. I'm looking at a crash in the Midtown area. They just moved the damaged vehicles. People are still rubbernecking as they drive by 40 westbound at Chelsea. Again, here in the Midtown area on this crash. It is over to the side. There's still some volume there coming westbound I-40 in from Fayette County into Shelby County there, passing Chambers Chapel, Canada Road, all the way up to Sycamore View Road on 40 going westbound. Hey, make a difference by adopting a pet today at Humane Society of Memphis and Shelby County. Check out the animals that are available for adoption by logging on to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time, hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. The Tuesday, September 10th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. 65 degrees. It will get up to 92 today under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, 68 for a low with a few clouds in the forecast. Tomorrow, 88 for a high with sun and some clouds. Hour 2 of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Jay Gaddis is going to stop by at about 9:25. We'll get some thoughts from him on the big anniversary sale coming up. You'll want to keep your ears open for that because you can get some great deals, especially early for the Christmas holiday. Yes, I said it. But, of course, it's Tuesday, and that means it's time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. Opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate from Humdingers to go enjoy some delicious food over there. Of course, on Tuesdays, it means Taco Tuesday over at Humdingers with their chicken and fish tacos, just $2 each. That's each and every Tuesday all day long. You can find that over at Humdingers at Poplar and Massey. If you go to humdingersrestaurant.com, you can find their entire menu and see not only those great tacos, but everything else, including the great grilled fish options that they have that include their great toppings and their great side dishes, some great sandwiches, great appetizers like the calamari or the crab cakes or the humdinger shrimp. All kinds of great items on the menu over at Humdinger's. They also do catering. Great option for catering if you've got an event. And right there on the website, humdingersrestaurant.com, they've got details about catering as well. So you can get the information there on the website or just talk to the folks over at Humdinger's. Again, Poplar and Massey, that's where they're located. And again, Tuesdays are Taco Tuesdays over at Humdinger's. And, of course, Tuesdays with Humdinger's Trivia. If you are the first to answer our trivia question correctly, well, then you'll win a $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. You can answer via the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 901-360-8255. Text in those answers, 360-8255. And again, the first correct answer will get the $25 gift certificate from Humdinger's. You only get one guess, and if you've won in the last 30 days, you are not eligible. Here is today's question. With the Tigers and Florida State getting set to do battle on Saturday, I want to know, who was the Tigers quarterback the last time they beat Florida State? Who was the Tigers quarterback the last time they beat Florida State? 360-8255, 360-8255. Text in those answers. First correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's.
All right, week one of the NFL in the books. We had some surprises, some upsets, some games that we did not expect to go a certain way that did. We had all types of quarterback performances, from some really good to some just plain old terrible. The week started actually on the Thursday night with the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, beating the Ravens 27-20. And then on Friday night this past week in Brazil, it was the Eagles over the Packers 34-29. Jordan Love hurt at the end of the game. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. It has been announced that Malik Willis, what you talking about, Willis, will be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, good luck to them. Your Colts get to benefit from that. They are not putting Love on injury reserve, though, so they think he's going to be back shorter than 4 weeks. They said 3 to 4 weeks, so they are, I guess, have a positive outlook on when he might be back, and they say they're not signing a veteran. So, yes, if they're going to ride with Malik Willis and Sean Clifford while he's out, they better hope that Jordan Love comes back quickly.
Or as John Harden likes to say, the big red dog, Sean Clifford. All right, the Texans over the Colts, 29-27 in Indy. I'm telling you, the Colts are going to give them a battle all year long, but they come up short in this one. C.J. Stroud picking up where he left off last year, 24-32, 234, and 2 touchdowns. Anthony Richardson, 9 of 19. He has to be better as far as his completion ratio, but 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick, and had 56 yards on the ground and a touchdown.
It was a good game, really good game. In Houston, if they can get that production out of Stephon Diggs, they got better in the offseason. When you're adding Mixon, who was good, yes. Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins is awesome to begin with, and you've got Tank Dell. C.J. Stroud, they are loaded on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they've gotten better, but for me, the Colts added Anthony Richardson because he was hurt for most of last year, as was their running back in Jonathan. God bless it, man. My mind, I can't remember anything anymore. Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, they're both back and healthy, and hopefully they'll stay that way. The Bills and the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals. This is one I think, if I'm not mistaken, that on Friday was one of our picks with Brandon, that we both like the Cardinals. I forget what the line ended up being. Do you remember?
I do not know for sure.
But the Cardinals looked in great shape, and then the Bills came back. Josh Allen, 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdowns rushing. He injured his left hand, but he's good to go Thursday in the Buffalo-Miami game. Bills rally from 17-3 down, get the win.
Yeah, the Cardinals had their opportunities, certainly with that lead. But and Josh Allen had the early turnover, which that's the problem with him. I still wonder about that receiving core. I think Keon Coleman is going to end up being a really good NFL receiver.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know. They just counting on him to be a number one as a rookie. I don't know. I like Khalil Shakur as as a guy, but he's not a number one receiver. I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen is. I still think Josh Allen's awesome, despite the turnover issues, everything else. I think Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I just really am concerned about that receiving core that he has.
The Patriots with the upset of the day, beating the Bengals 16-10. New England's got a defense. Gerard Mayo, though, making his presence felt overall. Real nice moment for him to get the game ball from Robert Kraft after the game. But they beat the Bengals 16-10, holding them to 10 points and 224 yards of total offense. I know Cincinnati's got some issues early. Chase did play, though, had 6 catches. Cincinnati has been notoriously slow starters, but I did not see this one coming.
I mean, it's embarrassing to score 10 points, to be shut out in the first half. And, I mean, they should have had a touchdown twice in the first half. They had the drop, and then the next play, the guy fumbles on his way into the end zone. But, I mean, for them to come out, I don't care what the situation is, no T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, for the Bengals with Joe Burrow at quarterback, and again, this was the big question about the Bengals is, first of all, how healthy is Joe Burrow? What is this state, this Joe Burrow? And the early return's not promising when you go out and score 10 points against the Patriots in week 1.
Yeah, and then, of course, you lose Mixon, you lose P. Ryan, the running backs from last year. They don't have Higgins. Chase is not happy, but he did make 6 catches. Not good. Not a recipe for a successful year, but I still think the Bengals will be good. I picked them to be in the playoffs. I don't know how good the Vikings are, but I know they're much better than the Giants. The Giants are a horrible team. Vikings won 28-6. Sam Darnold, 19 of 24, 208, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I think he was starting even if J.J. McCarthy was not injured. But Darnold, the veteran, gives them a chance. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, 2 interceptions for Jones in the 28-6 loss.
Well, when during the offseason, you've got to watch the fact that your team was trying everything they could to replace you.
That show will never happen again.
This is quite the way to come out and prove them wrong. I mean, it just... They had they had the stat that since he signed the big contract, he's thrown more touchdowns for the defense than he has for his offense.
My gosh.
That's it's incredible. I hadn't realized just how bad it is, but more pick sixes than touchdowns since he signed his extension. I mean, again, we know they were trying to replace him. So how long do they go with him before you bench him? If you clearly have no faith in Daniel Jones. We know that. So, how many games do you go before you say, well, this is just dumb. Why are we playing him?
Well, at least a couple, because he's expected to start game 2 for the Giants. And by the way, the loss of Saquon Barkley, pretty big loss as he cashed in, 3 touchdowns in the Eagles' first game against the Packers, a 34-29 win. So the Vikings get the win, the Giants get the loss. The Bears beat the Titans 24-17 in a game in which the Titans should have won, but because of bad passes from Will Levis, a pick six, a late interception, and bad special teams, a punt return for a touchdown, the Bears end up winning despite the struggles of Caleb Williams.
So I was thinking about, if you're a quarterback, a rookie quarterback, and when you get your first win as a quarterback, you would want that game ball, right?
Yes.
But if you're terrible in the game, do you want the game ball?
Yes, because...
You certainly don't put your stats on the game ball.
No, you don't put your stats, but...
Do you even want that game ball? I don't even know if you want to be reminded of that game. I mean, he was awful.
Yes, you do, because, again, it's a team victory. It's not an individual performance. It's about the team. Your team won. No matter how you played, your team won. But, yes, it's bothering him. You know it is by his post-game remarks. And I still believe not playing much in the preseason games really does a disservice to rookies, especially rookie quarterbacks. Williams has all the tools to be really good, but he can't be doing some of the things that he got away with in college. It was funny. I was listening to Orlovsky talk about Caleb Williams. He goes, oof. He goes, you're not playing Arizona State anymore. You can't be backtracking, throwing off your back foot and getting picked. Or he wasn't picked, but he got sacked. That's what it was. And then he ended up having like a 2nd and 29. You just can't do those things. You got to get rid of the ball. You can't take a sack. I think he took a huge sack, right? You can't do that. You have to get rid of the ball. You have to know when to slide. These are things he'll learn. He's going to be good. But the Bears, who a lot of people are high on this year, I don't have them as a playoff team. To get a win out of that mess, more power to that defense and special teams.
148 total yards.
And won a football game.
Won an NFL football game.
Exactly.
That's also says how bad Will Levis was.
Exactly.
Like the Titans.
He's sniffing too much mayo, I think.
They've got they got some problems. I just don't. I never believed all the excitement about Will Levis coming out. I just don't see it.
They look great to start. Tony Pollard, the former Tiger, was running the ball down their throats, scored the touchdown, and after that, it was all downhill from there. Saints, they had no problem scoring points. 47 over the hapless Panthers, 47-10. That eliminates the Panthers from postseason play. Bryce Young, 13 of 30, 161 yards and 2 interceptions. I still don't know if Bryce Young is like good or he's just a victim of this crappy team. All last year, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. They went out, they didn't do much, and he's still going to run for his life. So, again, I don't have an answer whether Bryce Young is a bust or not. The Panthers are a bust, though. And Derek Carr, the veteran for New Orleans, I don't expect much from the Saints, but they hopped all over a bad team. 19 of 23, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, poor Bryce. I don't know Bryce. Like he's throwing to Adam Thielen, who's, this isn't 6 years ago. I mean, they did go get Deontay Johnson to try and help him out a little, but you just look at the guys around him offensively. There's just not much there, man. No. It's like, I don't know what he's supposed to do, but you can't be throwing interceptions. Like, he doesn't look good. Nobody looks good on the Panthers.
They are a bad football team and a poorly run organization. Speaking of organizations, but the opposite, that are run incredibly well, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike Tomlin and the Steelers go down to Atlanta. Atlanta's the chic pick. I like Atlanta. I still think they're going to be really, really good, but the Steelers' defense holds them to 10. Kirk Cousins picked off twice, and Justin Fields, who ends up getting the start over the injured Russell Wilson, goes 17 of 23, $156, 14 carries, 57 yards, or 14 rushes for his life. But the point is that Justin Fields can do it with his legs, whereas Russell Wilson cannot, and maybe Tomlin sticks with Fields once Wilson is healthy, and who knows what the word is for week 2. We haven't heard yet, but the Steelers go down to Atlanta, hold them to 10, and win 18-10. It's a good win.
Yeah, it's a terrible performance by the Falcons. Quite frankly, they couldn't block T.J. Watt, which that's no surprise that happens. But, you go spend the money on Kirk Cousins. You've got Bijan Robinson. You've got Kyle Pitts and Drake London and all these things, all these pieces that everything was supposed to come together now that you went and got this quarterback. And you come out in week 1 and you get shut out in the second half and put up 10 points in the game. It's, I don't know. I thought the Falcons would be much improved. That performance did not make me believe that for sure.
No, give him time. I'm sure there's some people.
Yeah, that's a young quarterback like Cousins. He needs time to develop.
No. Give the team time. And, of course, they do have a young quarterback, relatively young. I guess being a rookie, he's young. Numerically, he's not. Michael Penix Jr. waiting in the wings. But Kirk Cousins has to be better. I think Atlanta will. or me and a lot of people missed the boat on them. The Dolphins beat the Jaguars 20-17. We talked a bit about this one yesterday. Jags in control of this game, and the Dolphins pull it out in the end. Jason Sanders' 52-yard field goal as time expires. Of course, Tyreek Hill, after being pulled over, makes it to the game on time, catches a big touchdown pass from Tua, who went 23 of 37 for 336 and a touchdown.
He's still, regardless of what happens before the game, when the guy gets on the field, he's really, really fast.
I don't know if you know this, but they call him the cheetah.
He could be arrested. He could be stopped for speeding on the field. If only the Jaguars had much success tackling him as the police did.
If he tried to run away from the cops, would they have caught him? No chance.
That dude would have had no chance. He could have ran once they had the handcuffs on, and they could have had shackles on his legs, and they weren't going to. They can't catch him.
We will get back to the rest of the NFL Week 1 action when we start hour number 3. But when we come back, we're talking Tigers, Florida State. We're talking about Silverfield versus Norvell. We're talking with Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal.
We do have a correct answer from our Humdingers trivia. We actually had a number of correct answers, but a lot of people clearly had to go look this one up because they came late. There was one, may have looked it up, may just be really quick at looking it up, but came pretty darn quick with the correct answer. A lot of incorrect answers, a lot of correct answers, but there was one clear winner who was the first with the correct answer. The question was, who was the Tigers quarterback the last time they beat Florida State? You got to go back to Bobby Bowden's first season at Florida State in 1976. That was the last time the Tigers beat them. The Tigers at that point had won. That was their 6th straight win over Florida State. Now, since then, they have gone 0-8-1 against Florida State. But they did beat him in 1976, 21-12, and the quarterback was Lloyd Patterson.
So, Lucky Lloyd? Was that his nickname?
I do not know.
Lloyd Patterson, yeah.
There was one person who beat everybody else with the correct answer. We will be notifying them and letting them know how you're going to get your $25 gift certificate from Humdingers.
Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough, the owner of the company, at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. It's a locally owned and operated company. They offer financing with different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, even an 18-month same-as-cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket. Pinnacle does residential and commercial roofing. So business owners out there, property managers, listen up. Obviously, homeowners as well. If you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They are a member of the Better Business Bureau. Don't forget about the $100 referral fee for all new roofs. You know somebody who needs a new roof? You refer Pinnacle. They use Pinnacle. You get $100 from Pinnacle for that referral. Pinnacle does work around the home like carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing, siding, rotten wood repair. Quality work at a very reasonable price. Satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't like the job they did, they'll come out and they'll make it right. Get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. Again, locally owned and operated, Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon, 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com.
Chuck Galena says it was Lucky Lloyd Patterson, his favorite player at that time.
Wow. Well before my time in Memphis, but I've heard stories about him. So I thought it was Lucky. He probably didn't have to be lucky that day. He was probably really, really good in getting the win for Memphis. All right, when we come back, Jonah Dillon. Speaking of Memphis Tigers football, we'll talk Tigers and Florida State. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving Lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Finishing up the paperwork on this wreck in Midtown on 40 westbound at Chelsea. Still a little bit of rubbernecking going on as folks drive by the crash from earlier. It's still busy over here on 40 westbound as you come past Sycamore View Road, getting up on that flyover. Some of that traffic there getting off onto Sam Cooper coming inbound. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area now for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is that's coming up, make sure you stop by Weimer's Jewelry first, located at 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We'll get back to NFL talk. 9:05, wrap up all the games from week number 1. We'll do that again in about 35 minutes or so. But right now, as promised, we continue the countdown to the Tigers in Florida State. Of course, later on in the week, we'll have the Tiger Football Report. Ryan Silverfield will join us at 8:05 on Thursday, as he does each and every week. But right now, it is time to get the thoughts of one Jonah Dillon, University of Memphis Tigers football beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, and much, much more. You can follow him on Twitter at the Jonah Dillon. He joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Jonah.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Jonah, do you get a sense just from everything that you know is ahead for Memphis and where Florida State stands right now with a rough start to the season, that is one team in more of a dire straits? In other words, is it more important for Florida State to win this football game, or is it just as important for Memphis if they are to achieve all those lofty goals they set for themselves?
Well, it's a really good question. I to be honest, I don't really know what to make of it. I don't really know what to make about Florida State at all, because the way they've started the season is just so surprising relative to expectations. And you go from in the offseason, we were kind of talking about this for Memphis as being a free shot kind of game.
Yeah.
You go, if you lose, it's okay. You know, Florida State's going to be potentially a playoff team, so they're not going to hold that against you, kind of like Boise State going to Oregon, playing them close. No one is really too broken up about that over there. But now with Florida State being 0-2, obviously, look, if Florida State turns their season around, then it'll be okay because Memphis, if you lose, then Florida State gets better. It's like, okay, this team figured it out.
Right.
But if Florida State loses this game and they're 0-3, then it's basically it's already a crisis. If they're 0-3, their season is basically over. It's full on, inquisition over there. And then if you're Memphis, you're just kind of looking at what is this win doing for us in terms of like non-conference resume. And at the same time, if Memphis goes and loses, and then Florida State doesn't turn their season around and they end up, 6-6 or something like that, people are going to look back and say, you should have beat that team. And so there's definitely more pressure on Memphis than it looked like there was going to be. How much, I think, depends on how Florida State's season goes after this game.
And really with the Boise State performance against Oregon, now if you're Memphis, like if you don't go undefeated, you certainly are going to have Boise State lose another game to have really any chance of getting ahead of them and getting into the playoff.
Yeah, and so that's something obviously we knew coming in. Boise State was going to be one of the top teams in the group of five, one of the top contenders for that spot. They played really well in that game. Now, I will say the Mountain West, it's a pretty deep conference. There aren't a lot of easy games. So Boise State is probably going to be favored to win most of their games, probably all of them the rest of the season. But it's not like those are all gimmies. And so obviously if you're a Memphis fan or any group of five fan, pay attention to what's going on in Boise because it's going to be important. But yeah, potentially if you're projecting it as Boise State is going to go 11-1 with a very close loss on the road to Oregon, to be able to beat that resume, you're either going to have to go undefeated or you're going to have to look really impressive in these other games. And so it definitely, the pressure is up in that sense for Memphis. And I'm sure they know that going into this game, this is your chance. This is the one power conference opponent you have on your schedule. It's on the road. Mm-hmm. So, even if Florida State isn't what we thought they were going to be, to go beat a power conference team on the road of this caliber is still very impressive.
You wrote at the Commercial Appeal about the timeline since Mike's departure and Ryan's elevation. But it was interesting to hear, and I'm not sure if you had a chance to talk with Mike this week. Yesterday, Ryan's press conference, and he was asked a number of questions about the relationship and things of that nature. But he reemphasized the point that you just never know what fate may do. He easily could have been at Florida State with Mike Norvell. Who knows if he'd still be with him, but he could have easily been there if it wasn't for the fact that Laird Veach decided to elevate him to the permanent head coach for Memphis. But fate, does some weird and tricky things sometimes. I'm sure Ryan is extremely happy to be in the position he's in, but certainly could have been a part of Mike's staff. So these guys are almost joined at the hip.
Yeah, and if you go back and definitely check it out, I'll have a story later this week about their relationship and where it started, because you have to go back to Arizona State in 2015, actually, which is where they first met and worked together. And a little preview, there's that coaching staff at Arizona State. Todd Graham was the head coach. Kenny Dillingham was just starting out. He'd just been a high school coach, and he was a GA. I think that was his first year on the staff. And obviously now, less than a decade later, he's the head coach there. All the people that came through, Dan Lanning had been there a year before. Obviously, Dan Lanning worked with them at Memphis. You've got Kenny Dillingham, Brendan Marion, who's now the offensive coordinator at UNLV, who's one of the rising stars and will probably be a head coach very soon. He was on that staff, and then obviously Todd Graham, Mike Norvell. So there's a lot of people who have come in, and I'm missing a lot of people as well, obviously, including guys who were with them in Memphis, including Adam Fuller, who was the Memphis defensive coordinator in 2019, who's now Florida State's defensive coordinator. So there's a lot of names that have come through, and they're a part of that coaching tree. And this relationship is really important for the history of Memphis football, right? Because when Mike Norvell gets the job at Memphis, Ryan Silverfield had left. He was with the Lions, and he was one of the first people that Mike Norvell called to say, hey, I need you to come to Memphis with me. And at that point, they'd only worked together for less than a year. So they built the relationship that quickly, where Mike Norvell was like, this is somebody that I need with me in Memphis. And then Ryan Silverfield ends up being the only assistant coach from that original staff who stayed throughout Norvell's tenure at Memphis. So like you said, they're joined at the hip. Ryan Silverfield obviously kind of joked about it yesterday. I love the mind games of Norvell's going to run a trick play on the second series of the game. So now we got to see how that plays out. I'm excited to watch that series.
So through these first two games, from the Tigers' perspective and your perspective, what you expected from this team, have you seen what you expected?
Yeah, I think we've seen a different defense and an improved defense, and that was the biggest thing that we needed to see. Now, at the same time, I think it's okay because the games have been blowouts. If the passing game continues the way that it has, I think there are going to be some questions to be asked. But that's obviously part of the team that we expect. We expected the passing game going into the season would be the thing we wouldn't have to worry about because of what Seth Hennigan and those receivers did last year. But to me, the story's been on the defensive side of the ball because they've just looked really good. They've looked like they're much improved. They're running around. There's just things are going quicker. There's a lot of athleticism. Obviously, the linebackers are a huge part of it. And what Elijah Herring did against Troy was really impressive, just basically dominating the game. We know what Chandler Martin can do. Matt Hudson, the other linebacker, played well in both games, and North Alabama had the interception. So if they're going to play like that, then that's the thing that really shows, okay, this could be a playoff team. If the defense can play like that, and that's another thing to watch against Florida State, because if Memphis' defense can continue at that level against higher levels of competition, then this really can be a playoff team, and the sky's the limit.
How much of it is the addition of some of those players you just talked about, led by Elijah Herring, and how much of it is Jordan Hankins taking over the defense and the schemes that he's running?
Yeah, well, they go hand in hand because Jordan Hankins, obviously, he brought in these players that he wanted. He was looking for specific things, especially, you go back to the spring, right? They need a linebacker because Javonte Mackey, who came in, tore his ACL, and he was going to be a starting linebacker. So you have a gaping hole there, and you need a cornerback because Diego Brumfield, who was a starting cornerback last year, leaves in the transfer portal and goes to Mississippi State. So they bring in Elijah Herring, who was Tennessee's leading tackler a year ago, and they bring in Kobe Minor, who was an All-Big Ten honorable mention at cornerback last year. And now those are two of the standout players on the defense. You look around that whole defense, it really has been remade because there's transfers everywhere. And then obviously the big piece in the middle is Chandler Martin, and we all saw what he could do last year. But instead of having Chandler Martin clean up messes that exist, Chandler Martin is just doing what he normally does. And those things, so far, he hasn't had to clean up messes because they just haven't really existed. And I think what Elijah Herring did in the last game, that was impressive to see the control that defense is able to take, especially in the run game. If they can do that against Florida State, especially what we've seen with Florida State's passing game, I think that's going to be a big problem for the Seminoles.
So what do you think is the most concerning thing going into the matchup with Florida State?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would go back to the offense, which I wouldn't have expected that to be my answer a couple weeks ago. But the passing game, it looks a little bit off. That's the word I would use. Everything looks like it's maybe a step off. Now, Ryan Silverfield did say yesterday there were a lot of pass interference calls down the field, which is true. And so maybe if guys aren't getting grabbed, there would be longer touchdowns. But especially in the first two games, I feel like we've been waiting to see Seth Hennigan kind of uncork a long touchdown pass to Rock Taylor or Demir Blankenship, and we just haven't seen it yet. Now, obviously, we've seen them do it in the past, so we know they're capable. But looking for balance offensively, Memphis has been blowing these teams out, so it's not like you need to throw the ball a lot to get back in the game. If it's a close game or if you're behind, then you're going to need to do that. And look, so far, Seth Hennigan, they haven't needed him to do anything extraordinary. We know that he's capable of it. But it's going to happen at some point this season, and so they're going to need to be able to fix that so they can rely on that when they need it to come back in the game.
I know the coaches have not coached together in a number of years, but we just talked about their history, and they know each other like the back of their hand. Does that mean that they have to do some things that are unorthodox, do some things that are different? Within reason. You can't change your whole philosophy and change your whole offense or defense in a couple of days. But do you think they need to do things to try to out-clever the other guy, if you will?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little extra, like a couple trick plays or something. And I know that, as you mentioned to Ryan Silverfield in the press conference yesterday, we haven't seen trick plays from Memphis yet. So maybe we'll see a couple of those come Saturday. But I think, look, it's been 5 years, right? You have a lot of relationships within this coaching staff. Aside from all the ones they talked about earlier, Adam Fuller, Florida State's defensive coordinator, coached with Tim Cramsey at Marshall before they both left there. And so they went directly against each other in practice because Cramsey was the offensive coordinator and Fuller was the defensive coordinator. So you want to talk about familiarity. I mean, that's pretty high level right there because Tim Cramsey, you're not going to change your entire philosophy on either side of the ball. And so in that sense, like I would watch that matchup of they probably know each other pretty well. Now you're not running the same plays exactly that you did 6 years ago. So it's not like he's going to know exactly what's happening all the time. But that's going to be an interesting chess match in the sense that they have a pretty good idea of the philosophies, and then obviously with Norvell and Silverfield. So you might have to, if things aren't working at the beginning of the game, you might have to go deeper into the bag to find something.
Well, from the Florida State side, you would just think because of the struggles they've had through 2 games and now extra time to prepare for this, like, again, they're not going to change everything. Like, there's got to be some, like, searching for answers. Like, what? We got to figure out something that's going to work for us offensively.
They have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's what I've been thinking kind of going into this game is, like, Florida State had 2 weeks to, like you said, to find answers, but also just motivation-wise, Mike Norvell's going to that team and saying, okay, look, this season didn't start the way we wanted to. This is it. Like, we have 2 weeks after that Boston College game. I'm assuming that the mood there was like, we have 2 weeks to save our season and to figure this out. And so not only do I think there's going to be new things in terms of schemes or plays, motivation-wise, this has to be their best shot. Like, if you're Memphis, you have to be going there thinking we're going to get this team's best shot. We're going to get the best shot from the team that was ranked number 10 in the preseason, not the team that we saw against Boston College. And so in terms of, like, how are they underestimating them, stuff like that, I think that they should expect to see the best version of this team on Saturday.
Jonah Dillon joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. From a physicality standpoint, Florida State pretty much manhandled by both Georgia Tech and Boston College, which was shocking because they got some big boys. They got a lot of beef there on the offensive line and defensive line and were out-physicaled in both games. Memphis wasn't as physical as you would think they would have been in the North Alabama game, but it was an easy dub. I thought they really stepped up with the physicality against Troy. Now, granted, it's a much different Troy team from the last 2 years, but I thought that was a bright spot for Memphis with the running game, the offensive line dominating, but really winning the trenches. Do you believe that Memphis will go in there and be as physical or more physical than Florida State? Because I think that'll be the key to the game.
Yeah, and that's one of those where if you asked me that before the season, I would have said that's the number one concern for Memphis going into this game because Florida State in the trenches, especially on the defensive line, they're being talked about as the best defensive line in the country. And then the degree to which they were just completely dominated in the trenches in both those games, especially against Boston College, very, very concerning. And that's one of the reasons why Florida State had so many problems in those games and why it doesn't seem like there's obvious answers because if the strength of your team is your defensive line, you can't stop the run, then where do you even start, right? Mm-hmm. So I would have said, like I said, when we see Memphis, a lot of times if a team in the group of 5 goes and plays against a power conference team, you just stand there and look at the offensive line and the defensive line, and you can just tell which one is the group of 5 team and which one is the power conference team, right? And then you just have to overcome that, and obviously you can overcome it. Now, the degree to which they were dominated makes you think maybe Memphis can just go run the ball and be fine. So I would expect Memphis to try early to run the ball and establish the run. And that's one of those things in the first quarter, if you're trying to look for a barometer on where this game is going to go. If Memphis is running the ball consistently in the first quarter, you've got to be very concerned if you're a Florida State fan, because I think if they can establish the run early, that means that they haven't fixed their problems on the defensive line. And if that's going to be the strength of your team and you haven't fixed it, you're in a lot of trouble.
I totally agree with that. Do you know what the payout is for Memphis for this game?
1.3
in terms of $1.3 million. Yeah.
Wow, $1.3 million. All right. Well, we'll see you down there. Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal, Tigers beat writer, and does a lot of other things, obviously, for the CA. Wears a few hats. You can follow him on Twitter, including the Grizzlies. You can follow him on Twitter at the Jonah Dillon. Jonah, as always, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take care.
It's funny, Phil Steele at his magazine, he had Florida State's offensive line ranked as the 5th best in the country. In his little thing, he says, Norvell told me that this could be his best offensive line ever, and it's the deepest they have been. He has Florida State defensive line as 15th in the country. And he says in there that Coach Norvell told me it is the deepest his D-line has ever been. So I have to believe that this domination up front that they have experienced in their first 2 games is quite a surprise to Mike Norvell.
Absolutely shocking. I mean, he's hoping that now what it was a 2-week hibernation, and they have woken up. As you said, and as everybody knows, they've had ample time to prepare for Memphis. If the Tigers go in there and beat them, it is an absolute disaster for Florida State. But I'm not saying that it's more important to them because it's just as important for Memphis. They know what's ahead for them. But this is going to be, I don't care. Don't look at 0-2. Don't look at Memphis with the number 25 next to it in the Coaches Bowl. This is going to be an extremely tough game for Memphis. And if they can come out with a W, man, sky's the limit this year.
Folks, if you've got a move coming up, maybe you've just gotten a new home, maybe you've got a new office space, wherever you're moving, whether it be just down the street, across the country, wherever you're headed. You want to make sure you got professionals to do that move, to help you with that move, to make sure all your belongings, everything gets where it's going without any problems. Everything goes very, very smoothly. You can't always count on that when you're doing it yourself or asking your friends to help you. But when you got the professionals from Black Tie Moving, well, then you can count on it being the case. Talk to the folks at Black Tie, 901-316-6196, or you can go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk to the folks at Black Tie. They come up with that plan, working with you to come up with a plan for your move that fits, 1, your needs, and 2, your budget. And that's the key. You want to make sure that both are taken care of. You will get a no obligation quote up front as well. So you're going to know exactly what it is before you agree to anything with the folks at Black Tie Moving. 5-star ratings online. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. People that use Black Tie rave about Black Tie. You should use them as well. If you've got a move coming up, talk to the folks from Black Tie Moving.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you're looking to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees, then Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis, Arkansas is the place for you. At Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis, you can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and is now available to everyone. A membership is $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar, all less than 15 minutes from downtown and midtown Memphis. Meadowbrook Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on and Cleveland clubs. If golf isn't for you, try the social membership for only $250 a month. And there's 3 levels of all-inclusive junior memberships, $20 to $29 for $200 a month and $30 to $34 for $250 a month. Call for your tee time today at Meadowbrook Country Club, 870-394-4186. Now semi-private Tuesday through Sunday. Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis, 870-394-4186.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit BinswangerGlass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:50 the time. Final segment here in hour number 2. I don't know why I find this funny. I shouldn't laugh at it, but so Boomer Esiason, who I went to school with, I think people know that, at Maryland, the great quarterback who was part of NFL Today for many, many years alongside his buddy Phil Simms, and now they're off the show. So this is the first year in God knows how long they've been off the show. So he's now can watch it from a different perspective. And he said, he was talking about Bradshaw stumbling through the highlights. He said, is that the way it's been? He said, I felt like it was a little disconcerting yesterday. I was worried about him. Is this the way it's been? Yes, for whatever reason. Every year, I don't know how CBS and those with NFL Today think this is good television.
Bradshaw's not on CBS.
Well, whatever it is. Fox, I'm sorry. How he stumbles through the highlights every single week when they have somebody as talented as Kurt Menefee that could do the highlights. Look, I know he's a personality, and I love that he is who he is, and I get a kick out of watching him, but the highlights are butchered. And let me tell you something. When you grew up watching Monday Night Football and watching Howard Cosell do the halftime highlights, as articulate as he did, with that music in the background, and it fired you up, and then Mom said, put out the lights, shut off the TV, because school's the next morning. That was fantastic. And now you got to watch this guy. You don't have to watch it, but if you're watching, he's doing a Berman. He's rumbling and stumbling and doing all through and it's happened for I don't know how many years. So I guess Boomer's saying he was on CBS, he was against them, but he never could watch them. And now, being able to kick back, he can watch both the shows and he can see what's going on. And yes, Boomer, it has been happening for years. Am I the only one that notices that?
I don't ever see it because I watch Red Zone Channel, so I don't ever see Bradshaw doing highlights.
Obviously, Boomer now has seen it. Me and Boomer, I think, are the only two. But, after a while, it's like, you've talked before about Vern Lundquist. How many more years are you going to go with Vern on CBS doing the SEC? And he's a legend and all that. But after a while, we'll get to that point as well. Probably sooner than later. Put us out the pasture. But certainly the Bradshaw situation wasn't good. This isn't good either. And we'll talk about the rest of the NFL games that we haven't gotten to yet in hour number 3, including Cleveland and Dallas. And another poor performance from Deshaun Watson. Maybe he had this on his mind. According to reports, a new civil lawsuit filed in Houston on Monday accuses Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson of sexual assault and battery in October of 2020 when he was a member of the Houston Texans. According to the lawsuit, the alleged actions occurred before Watson and a woman who goes by the pseudonym Jane Doe in the court filing was set to have dinner at the women's apartment. So this is the part, again, I don't know anything about this case. It's just another one. It's just another situation. This isn't the masseuse. This is just another damn thing with Deshaun Watson. Because Deshaun Watson has not been the same quarterback since he left Houston, signed the big contract, and then everything happened, all the allegations in the court and things that were settled outside the court. But this, I don't get this part. The lawsuit states that Watson met the woman, a single mother, at a Houston restaurant and bar, managed to get her phone number, and initially attempted to have her meet him at the Houston Galleria for a date. Nothing wrong with that. Tried to meet her at the Houston Galleria for a date. Reluctant to meet Watson in public, the woman instead agreed to a dinner date at her apartment. Isn't it the opposite? You don't want to have the date where you're alone with the date. You want to meet the date and have a dinner in public. Am I wrong? Isn't it always the opposite?
Depends if you need to not be seen with said person.
Well, he's the public figure. I don't know who she is. Maybe she's a public figure as well. Maybe she was skipping out on her man. But either way, it's sort of a weird thing. That's the latest. Again, I don't know what's affecting him other than he stinks.
Well, yeah, I mean, the rest of that story, if it true is, he is the man's. He's got problems.
He's got problems.
He's sick.
Yeah, I didn't even get into those details.
He's creepy and just I don't know.
Creepy. That's the perfect way to describe it.
I don't understand what his problem is, but yeah, I also wonder. I have no idea how they might have handled it. Like, with his contract, I wonder what the language is about any. Obviously, they knew about all the stuff that had already been, all the lawsuits, everything else that was filed and settled, all of that stuff. But I wonder in that contract with the Browns if there's any language about new stuff.
Right.
Even if it's new stuff, but it's old stuff. It's a new accusation about stuff that happened before rather than something that has happened, a new accusation that happened since joining the Browns. I wonder, because right now, like, let's be honest, the Browns, I'm sure, are thinking, like, how the hell can we get out of this contract?
No question about it.
And so you wonder, like, an accusation that's new, is there an out in that contract for the Browns based on something like this coming out?
Let's just put it this way. Attorneys are at work on it today. And then,
yes.
Of course, he has the backing of the Players Union, which is a strong union.
It's also, and again, I don't know, it certainly very much could be coincidental, but like the timing of it is also interesting that this comes out now, right after another terrible performance by Deshaun Watson to open up a new season.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, like, it's just weird. Like, that's literally the day after his most recent terrible performance to start a season, a new lawsuit comes out, is filed. It's crazy timing.
Crazy coincidence. By the way, when you had the Humdingers trivia question about the last time the Memphis Tigers beat Florida State in 1970, what was it,
76, yep.
Lloyd Patterson was the quarterback. Got a text from our good buddy, Jarvis Greer. He goes, that was my team. Lucky Lloyd, Keith Simpson, Eric Harris all came from Hamilton High School, one of our chief rivals at Christian Brothers High School. They had a lot of pros, got a lot of guys who went to the NFL from that team. We all met up at Memphis, had some great squads. We used to routinely beat Florida State until Bowden's third year. Played them at Tallahassee, had the lead till late in the second. They beat us 30-9, went to the Orange Bowl. The fans threw oranges at us. Crazy, but cool. It's going to be pretty cool seeing the whole tomahawk thing and the whole, what's the Chief's name that comes out on the horse for Florida State? Does he still do the spear in the middle of the field?
Gosh dang, what the hell's his name?
Chief Osceola?
Yes, I believe that's correct. But no, I thought I said earlier, like, I mean, the Tigers at that win in 1976, that was a 6th straight win over Florida State. Like, they were dominating that series. And then, obviously, yes.
And they started to dump money into the football program at Florida State.
Bobby Bowden changed the program around. That was his first year. And then after that, Florida State was a different program. They immediately started winning a lot more games, and then the Tigers haven't beat them since. They lost 8 out of 9, and they did tie the 1 year. But yeah, it's that was at that point. Yes, the Tigers were dominating Florida State.
I mentioned yesterday that on Sunday I went over to the official grand opening of Shoot 360 Memphis, the new location in Cordova. Absolutely incredible. Thaddeus Young, part of the ownership team, cut the ribbon, and a lot of kids were there, a lot of families were there, a lot of adults were there. And this is for kids and for adults. But really, I brought my grandchildren, my 2 grandsons, and they were having a ball. They have the gamification where they pass balls into a screen and they're like getting points by hitting certain targets and all that. So it's really fun for all, but it is really set up to become a better basketball player, a better shooter. That's what Shoot 360 Memphis is all about. We've talked about it for a while now. The Collierville location, Cordova, has now been open for a month or two. For parents and grandparents and coaches out there, for your kids, your grandchildren, your players, this is a place to really find the correct habits to become a better shooter. Arc and depth is so important in your shot. Players can track their progress, analyze their performance, and you have the coaches to help you along the way. So give them a call today. Find out more about what they have to offer at Shoot 360 Memphis, 901-316-5500, or go online to Shoot 360 Memphis to sign up. They are now doing monthly memberships. So try it out for a month. I think you're going to like it. If not, no harm, no foul. Shoot 360 Memphis. It's where the preps and pros go to get their shot on.
That 30-9 loss to Florida State, that was Bowden's second year. That was the year after. They won the 76 game. The next year, in Bowden's second year, they lost to him 30-9.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy turning around a program, really starting a program.
Florida State went, in the years leading up to him, they went 0-11, 1-10, and they did go 3. They had a 3-8 year. Then his first year, they went 5-6. Then they went 10-2, 8-3, 11-1, 10-2. Threw in a 6-5 year. Struggled actually for a little bit in the early 80s, and then of course late 80s is when they just started winning. They were a top 5 team basically every year. For I can remember how many, or they finished in the top 10. Was it in the polls? I think it was top 5 for I don't know how many straight years they were a top 5 team in the final poll.
All right, when we come back, hour number 3, we get back into the NFL. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone. All thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Want to do something you can't do anywhere else? Then join me, your buddy Johnny Radio, at Top Gun Memphis this Thursday at 11 to 1 to experience the fully automatic machine gun package for just $99. It includes 3 different machine guns, ammo, range safety officer, and a shooting range. New to shooting or just need to learn? Top Guns Academy is nationally recognized, and memberships start at just $29.95 a month. Gun rentals are only $10. Join me this Thursday at Top Gun Memphis, 2770 Witten Road.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Witten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
So they're clearing stages like that one from earlier on 40 West at Chelsea. There's a lot of traffic just trying to get through Midtown right now in general. On 240 North here out by Lamar, it's still loaded up with some volume on 40 West coming past Chambers Chapel. All that traffic coming in from Fayette County, working their way down the interstate over here on 40 westbound towards Sycamore View Road. Hey, make a difference by adopting a pet today at Humane Society of Memphis and Shelby County. Check out the animals that are available for adoption. They got some cute ones on there. Check them out online at memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Stores and More. And once again, Mark Gaston and Eli Support.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:04 the time. Hour number 2 here on Sports. Hour number 3. Hour number 3. Time flies when you're having fun here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you. We're broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 70 degrees, going to get up to 92 today. Sunshine and clouds mixed. Then tonight, 68 for a low. partly to mostly cloudy. Hour number 3 brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More, and they invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Now located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. And Jenkins makes your life easy. They got a 2-week turnaround. So contractors, builders, or family projects, call them at 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Family owned and operated. Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans. They look forward to your business. Go see them today at Jenkins Floors and More, 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake.
So Florida State, it was 14 straight years from 87 to 2000 that they finished in the top 5 of the AP poll. That's amazing. That's incredible.
Bobby Bowden is Florida State football.
That is a level of consistency. They did not lose more than 2 games in any season for those 14 years.
So I'm told the pronunciation is Osceola, not Osceola, Osceola. Don't we have a town in Arkansas? Right?
Yeah.
Osceola. So what I'm thinking of is, a lot of these names of these cities or towns were after the tribes of the Native Americans. So the Osceola tribe, the Indians, went from Tallahassee all the way up to, it's usually geographically where they are, right? They're spread out that far?
Yeah.
I guess they could just use that name in honor of whatever and all that, but interesting. And it's also interesting, of course, that Florida State is allowed to do everything, all the rituals. They're allowed to continue to do that because supposedly, I guess they got the okay from the tribal chief of the Osceola tribe in that area of the country, down in the Tallahassee area. And they continue to do that. While where other rituals in certain games of collegiate teams that have had Native American nicknames have had to do away with those things, change nicknames and things of that nature. Florida State's been able to continue to do what they've done for a long time. The tomahawk chop.
Yeah, again,
Chief Osceola going out and doing what he does.
A lot of the things were not, or a lot of the teams that were changed weren't named after a tribe. They were just named Indians.
Right, no, that should have been changed. There's no question about that. But I'm not talking about the nickname. I'm talking about everything else.
Seminole tribe. Obviously, the Seminoles is the
it's the tribe, and the Osceola is the.
I don't know. I don't know all that stuff. But I mean, it's obviously Seminoles is their nickname. That's the tribe.
Right. Yeah, that's my mistake. But so Osceola was just the name. Maybe he was just the chief. Is that what it was?
Yeah, again, I don't know.
But again, Osceola, Arkansas. That has to be. Can you look that up, Zach? What that was named after? I'm assuming it's either Chief Osceola or there was a tribe as well. So that would make sense if it was named after just a leader, because I can't imagine that tribe would go that distance from the panhandle of Florida all the way into Arkansas going towards Missouri.
Wayne Texan says, any idea on how many Memphis fans are headed to Tallahassee? I've got my tickets at Hotel Book. Go Tigers, go.
Not sure.
No idea how many. I would assume there'll be a decent amount, but I have no idea. I don't know.
I would think that there will be a decent amount. And again, what's the decent amount? I don't know. Will they sell out their? I don't even know how many tickets are given to them for their allotment. I'm not sure if they'll sell out, but I think it'll be decent for a couple of reasons. One, it's not a crazy drive. It's going to the panhandle of Florida, basically, right? Tallahassee's still considered, even though it's not on the shore, not on the ocean or the Gulf. It's not. I still think it's considered panhandle, right? And they go see a game between Florida State and Memphis, big time opponent. Mike Norvell, the former Tiger coach, a chance to pull off an upset. By the way, the line is 8 now, so that line is going from 6.5 to 8 in the last day. But I would think that there's a relatively good chance that they could have a nice crowd. Now, again, this hurricane/tropical storm is not coming up that way. It's coming up straight up, like it's not going to hit New Orleans, but coming up where it's going to go through Mississippi and then up towards Memphis. And Missouri and going further north.
Sitting like Louisiana, Texas. It's more that direction, Texas.
But don't they say the remnants are going to roll through?
It'll come up
Yeah.
through that way. But yeah, the storm itself is like going towards Houston and the Texas side.
Right. So it's staying away from the Tallahassee area, the Panhandle. So again, travel-wise, I would think that it wouldn't be too bad for anybody going down. Now, as far as flights are concerned on Friday, I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but I would imagine it'd be a decent crowd coming in.
So Osceola is the chief of the Seminole tribe.
That's what it is. Okay. After he mentioned that, I was like, duh, Seminoles. But I didn't know if Osceola originally was the tribe, but it's got to be Chief Osceola. So that's what the city's named after, I would imagine, right? In Arkansas, you just said that. And then, of course, the chief representing the Seminole tribe in all his glory at the Florida State game. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Is the stuff they got, construction they got going on with their stadium, is that reduced their capacity? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know that.
I don't know. I know they're doing some stuff. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I assume it probably is, but I'm not sure exactly what their construction is.
I wonder how many other stadiums right now are going under renovation. Vanderbilt has been. Are they done yet? They're not done yet, right? No. So Vanderbilt, Memphis, Florida State, we know 3 right off the bat. So I'm sure there's a few more out there. All right, let's get back to the NFL. Pick up where we left off, and that was the Chargers and Raiders. So Jim Harbaugh, in his debut with the Chargers, gets the win 22-10. J.K. Dobbins, big story in that one, 10 carries, 135 yards, and a touchdown.
He can be pretty good when he's healthy. Just a matter whether he can stay healthy or not. That'll be the question. And
can their quarterback stay healthy? I think they got a good chance with some of the players that they have in skill positions for this Chargers offense. But this will also be a defensive-oriented team, and good start holding the Raiders to 10.
It does say, by the way, that there will be limited seating, so it is affecting their capacity some, but it doesn't say here what the actual number is or how much it's affected.
The Seahawks over the Broncos 26-20. Kenneth Walker III from here in the Memphis area went to Arlington High School. 20 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Good start to his season. Bo Nix did some good things, did some bad things. 26 of 42 for the rookie making his first start. 138 yards, had 2 picks. Also had 5 rushes for 36 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, Walker's just good. Just bottom line, the dude he's a good NFL running back, continues to produce. Denver is not real good, and Nick's, again, none of the rookies threw a touchdown pass. He was also, he got hit with the interceptions. So yeah, I don't think they're not going anywhere. So to me, they're doing the right thing. Just put Bo Nix out there and let him learn on the job.
Cowboys all over the Browns, 33-17. They were the underdog in this one. Dak Prescott got the new contract, and then later on in the day went 19 of 32 for 179 yards and a touchdown. And we've already talked about Deshaun Watson and his struggles both on and off the field. On the field, 24 of 45, 169, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also had 5 rushes for 39 yards. There's also already some people calling for Jameis Winston to get the start.
Yeah, I don't understand. I never did not. I mean, I guess because they're at home, but I did not understand why Cleveland was the favorite in that game. Micah Parsons was he was himself. I mean, he's a monster. Like
one man wrecking.
He and DeMarcus Lawrence were living in the backfield.
Right.
Like because Parsons just. Mike Zimmer's going to do. I coming in as a defensive coordinator and taking over when you've got Micah Parsons on your side. That's a hell of a job to take over. But the way the dude is for the Browns starting 2 backup tackles. That was never going to work well. That's not going to work well against Micah Parsons. And then you start paying so much attention to him that you got DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side doing his thing. Like they just defensively, the Browns had no chance.
And on the flip side, the Cowboys' scheme to limit Myles Garrett was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the thing. Like just like Micah Parsons, you got to worry about where he is, and they did a nice job of, getting Dak on the move, doing things to limit his. And they chipped him a lot with running backs to make sure that they gave some help because you had a rookie offensive tackle making his first career start, and they certainly like him a lot, and he's going to be good. He was really good in that opportunities he had, but they made sure that with running backs and other things, they helped him out and did a great job against Garrett.
And Parsons, by the way, on his future, was asked about it. He said, I'm going to be a Cowboy. So don't worry, Eli. He's going nowhere. The Buccaneers all over the Commanders, 37-20. Baker Mayfield, 24 of 30, 289, and 4 touchdowns.
He's been good there, obviously. Cleveland probably wishes they would have kept him instead of giving Deshaun Watson all that money.
I'm sure they have regrets. Mayfield, probably, you have to think a top 12 quarterback, 15 certainly, maybe even sneak into the top 10 right now in the NFL. Very consistent, great numbers against a porous team, certainly, in the Commanders. Jaden Daniels gets his first NFL start. It wasn't bad. 17 of 24, 184, no touchdowns, but no picks. And then 16 rushes for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, Dan Quinn, friend of the show, said afterwards that we can't have Jaden running that much.
No.
As a former defensive coordinator, he knows.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you want the guy to learn and all that stuff, but you don't want to get him killed as a rookie. Again, you're not going anywhere, so you don't. I mean, and that's going to be the question with Richardson with the Colts too. Like he got hurt last year. Like it's great to have that dimension to your game, but you can't be doing that all the time because the NFL, you're just not going to last doing that.
No, I mean, look, we've seen guys that have been incredible two-way, two-dimensional players with their legs, with their arms. Steve Young, people forget Steve Young was great running and passing the ball. So you can have success, certainly have success, but a lot of times you could also get yourself in trouble and get killed out there, and that ain't doing the team any help. You're not helping out the team by going out and getting hurt. And that's another thing with the Colts and Anthony Richardson. They have to basically keep this guy as much in the pocket, and certainly there's times where he's going to go gadget legs, I guess, and do some positive things. But boy, oh boy, those dudes can hit. This is the National Football League, ladies and gentlemen, and more than likely you're not going to survive too many of those hits. The Sunday night game, the Lions beat the Rams in a great game. It went overtime, 26-20. David Montgomery with the game-winning 1-yard touchdown run in overtime. Lions were in control. Rams battled back. And Matthew Stafford, the former Lion, Jared Goff, the former Ram, the quarterbacks in the game. But the Lions come back on that last drive to kick a field goal to tie it. They go to overtime. They get the ball. Again, a touchdown ends it. Field goal doesn't on that first drive. And what do? They march right down the field. They just shove it where the sun doesn't shine with the Rams and just run the ball. Boom, 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 right up the middle, and then score the touchdown, win the game, go home.
Yeah, Montgomery was awesome on that last drive. And by Chris Collinsworth on that last drive. Yeesh. Talk about he obviously forgot the new overtime rules and not the old overtime rules. He's talking about kicking it on third down. Like, I don't think they're going to kick this on third down, Chris. I think they're probably going to go and try it. And Tirico finally was like, or you could try and score the touchdown to win the game, to end it. And then Collinsworth, you could tell, like, somebody was telling, like, and Collinsworth goes, yeah, I mean, obviously you'd like to try and win the game here. And I'm like, well, no kidding. He's like, well, you just kind of run it here on first and second down, get it in position, and then I think you got to think about kicking it on third down. I'm like, what? No.
It's okay to admit you made a mistake. I do it all the time. It's fine. You don't have to talk in circles to try to make up for what happened. I mean, people understand. You forgot.
He can laugh at himself and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the old overtime rules. That's right. The field goal does not end the game. So yeah, they will not be kicking it on third down. They'll probably go for the touchdown.
Yeah,
they won't listen to me."
My memory's not as sharp, remembering all the names and all that all the time. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I don't remember a certain thing. Hey, it happens, ladies and gentlemen. So
but it was the way
Collinsworth, it happens. But you
I
admit
can't
to it.
remember exactly the way Tirico said it, but it was like you could tell Tirico was like trying to tell him hey, idiot, they need to score a touchdown.
Right.
But do it in a subtle way to it might click with him but I still don't think he got it. You could tell because there was a long pause then from Collinsworth, and you could tell somebody was in his ear dude,
yes.
You understand the field goal doesn't win the game, right? And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably
you have to be subtle. You can't show him up. So yes, it might take a second, and that's usually when you're right, Eli. When that pause happens, you're not only look. People are in your ear all the time. We are as broadcasters. We know that people are going to talk to us all the time. Some directors more than others, but certainly you are able to do your thing while they're talking to you. But when you're really trying to comprehend what they're saying, that's when the pause comes in. You're thinking to yourself, what are they talking about? What? Oh, yeah, you're right. All right, then last night, the 49ers beat the Jets 32-19. So you had a lot of storylines here. No Christian McCaffrey. We found out just prior, an hour or two before the game. No McCaffrey. So the 49ers go with undrafted free agent Jordan Mason. And all he does is rush for 147 yards and a touchdown on 28 carries. We had, of course, the return of Aaron Rodgers. An okay game for Rodgers, but he was healthy. 13-21, 167, a touchdown and a pick, and he'll have better days. Look, the Jets are a good team. 49ers are a really special football team. They have so many weapons. And then, of course, they showcase the weapon that is the kicker, Jake Moody, with 6 field goals. But they have Brock Purdy, who is Mr. Irrelevant, the last player chosen in the draft. And here's Jordan Mason, an undrafted free agent. Let's give a lot of credit to the 49ers and their front office and John Lynch and all his people and all the scouts, because they find players.
Oh, no question. I mean, Mason, while he's been used a little bit the last couple of years, I don't think anybody would have expected that you throw him in there and you're going to get that performance.
Right.
I mean, he had 43 carries his rookie year, 40 carries last year. Now he goes out and gets 28 carries in a game and looked awesome in doing it. He was, you're I mean, you have no idea that's not a starting running back in the NFL. So you could give them credit, but I also wonder maybe they should have been using him more the last couple of years. The guy looked really, really good. And the Jets are a pretty good defense. That's not some slouch defense he's doing that against. And he was awesome.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is a great player, but you got a guy that walks in here and goes for nearly a $150. Are you kidding me? That's how good the 49ers are. All right, we'll take a timeout. That's your recap of the NFL.
A couple of texts here to get to. Andrew says if you swap Bryce Young with Tua, Young would be having success. Product of the organization system they are in.
Right now, I think it is who was this? The texter?
Andrew.
I think Andrew's right. But
I still think
eventually, he's still small. I mean, there's a lot of things that they said before he was drafted. They were going to draft him very, very high. He was either going to be 1 or 2. But remember all the questions about his height and all that? I don't know if that's a factor. He's got to run for his life. He has no weapons. But after a while, he's going to have to figure it out. Sorry, that's the situation he's in. We can't just assume that if you flip-flop him with Tua, or let's say flip-flop him with C.J. Stroud. That's a better example. You think Stroud in Houston in Carolina struggles as much as Bryce Young does? And does Bryce Young kick tail as much as Stroud does in Houston? I'm not so sure about that.
Certainly, I don't think there's any doubt. Bryce Young is in a terrible situation. I mean, the team, again, they are around him it is bad. He has very little to work with. What would he do it's just in this situation if you switch? Would he have more success he's having in Carolina? No question he have more success he's having in Carolina. Would he have the success Tua is having? I don't know. I think people I don't know if we give Tua enough credit. Like, people are always trying. It's like just everything is everything but Tua being good. Like, so maybe Tua is just good.
Tua is the nickelback of NFL quarterbacks. Nickelback's good. Just they get a raw deal. Tua gets the raw deal sometimes.
Oh, I think he was going to play two ways. He was going to be nickelback and quarterback. That would be really impressive if he did that. Doug says, I can't stand Caleb Williams, but 1-0 is the only stat that really matters. Well, yeah, so in the end, a win is a win. You're going to take that, no doubt about it. But you're not going to get many wins with your quarterback doing what he did on Sunday. And he knows that.
I'm going to be very interested to see, not that it's always comparable, but what USC does the rest of the year now in a tougher conference in the Big Ten with this quarterback who I really, really like. Because, again, we talked about Caleb Williams being a sensational quarterback, but he led his team to how many wins last year?
They went 7-5.
7-5. Not exactly earth-shattering.
Mid-South Ag Equipment, folks. For all those equipment needs, that's the place to go. Check out the Case IH Farmall series of tractors. Check out the Bush Hog equipment and everything else that they have for you at Mid-South Ag Equipment. From new equipment to pre-owned equipment, service on your equipment, they do it all at Mid-South Ag Equipment. You can follow them, or find them rather, just south of Collierville on Goodman Road. If you take I-269 to the Goodman Road exit, they're just a half mile west, so very easy to get to. The actual address is 3044 Highway 302. You can also find them online easily at MidSouthAg.com. And online you can check out inventory of equipment, things that they've got. You can check out special deals that they've got going on. Basically all the information you need right there on the website at MidSouthAg.com. For all your equipment needs, they are the people to see. That's Mid-South Ag Equipment.
You're listening to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa setting. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collierville's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving Lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collierville's historic town square.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:29 is the time. A tad over 30 minutes to go in our Tuesday edition, or on our Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. We love all our sponsors. We can't thank them enough. We appreciate everything they do for us, including Family Leisure. You heard the Mr. Announcer Man say that the third hour of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. But I think you know by now, because they have been with us for years, our second hour sponsor each and every day is James Gaddis Jewelers, and we're very pleased to be joined by our friend Jay Gaddis, who joins us in studio to talk about a big anniversary that's coming up. Jay, you guys are going to be celebrating, 25 years or actually more than that, Poplar Avenue location in the heart of East Memphis, and over 50 years now in Memphis, serving this great community with the best jewelry and the best service. So thank you for joining us. But this is a big Saturday coming up for you guys.
It is. Good morning, you guys. So this Saturday, one day only, September 14th, it's really our biggest sale we've ever had. The entire store is on sale, starting at 20%, going up all the way up to 60%. Different categories, different items for different percentages. We've got little tags with different colors to tell you which percentage is which. But I ordered about 150 of each tag. We ran out. I had to order more. So yeah, it's the whole store is on sale and just a whole lot of savings. And yeah.
Is this just basically to thank everybody, loyal customers you've had? You've had repeat customers over the years, but you want, obviously, a lot of the newbies to come in, especially people who are transplants to this city. But this is to thank them for all their patronage over the years, to have this opportunity to go in there, get some great sales on great jewelry, and maybe stock up for Christmas.
Absolutely. It's a great time to stock up for Christmas. Go ahead and get an item for maybe down the line if you're going to be in the doghouse, or want to get out on a Saturday and watch the game and get a little time to yourself. But yeah, it really is the biggest sale. I can't stress that enough that we've ever had. And we also want to remind people, how long we've been in business serving the community. Like you said, bring in some new customers and show them what our business has to offer.
Look, you never know what you're going to get when you go to a jeweler and you want somebody who has the resume, and you look at your father and how long he's been in this business. And he goes overseas. He goes to pick up the best diamonds in the world. They're all graded and certified. You're getting legitimate diamonds. You also have a price point that suits everybody's budget. So
absolutely,
maybe it's a $1,500, $2,000 diamond all the way up to whatever. I don't know what the most expensive one is in the store, but I'm sure it gets up there. And you give them the opportunity to take a look at all those diamonds, try them on, and see what they like.
Absolutely, yeah. All of our diamonds are GIA certified, and they're all 20% off in store this Saturday, one day only.
Do you find a lot of people getting engaged in the fall?
They do. A lot of people, there's a lot to do in the fall. There's a lot of events. The weather's nice. It creates a lot of opportunity to get engaged. Also, people thinking about towards, the holidays, want to have that ring in their pocket just to have it there
it's there
at the right moment.
It's there to pop the question. So
exactly.
Let's say folks are not looking for an engagement ring or a wedding ring. They're already married. They're looking at anniversary presents. They're looking at Christmas presents. Some of the other things, obviously, that you offer, it runs the gamut.
Absolutely. We've got diamond fashion up to 60%, gold and silver fashion, gemstones. I mean, pretty much, it's really the whole store. I can't.
You also
can't stress it enough.
Yeah, you also do the vintage stuff. And
estate.
You go to the estates and you pick up some great jewelry and some keepers there that you now offer up to your customers.
Yeah, and a lot of trends come back, and it's great to see older jewelry made new again, and to see those fashions come back and stay alive. And all of our estate jewelry is also up to 60% off.
And Jay, as I emphasize every single day, you're full service jewelers. You're going to take care of that piece of jewelry throughout its lifetime.
Absolutely.
Simple cleaning, you come back, you need a resetting. Our fingers get bigger and smaller and all that. So you guys can take care of that. You got two two bench jewelers ready to serve you each and every day. So, again, full service, got to stress that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do repairs, we do appraisals, we do watch batteries, pretty much anything you can think of. Bring it to us. We'll take care of you.
Still buying gold, silver, and diamonds?
Still buying gold, silver, and diamonds. Absolutely. Yeah.
And again,
yeah,
go ahead.
It's not as big as a market, but we still offer that as well.
And again, for people who are not familiar, I always say it's right in the heart of East Memphis.
Right in the heart of East Memphis, 4900 Poplar Avenue, right there smack between Huey's and Chick-fil-A.
Again, Saturday, what are your hours?
Saturday's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 6 hours, 60% off all day.
You can't beat it. 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., the anniversary sale, the biggest sale they've ever had at James Gaddis Jewelers, again, right there on Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Nick. Jay, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining
thanks
us.
for having me, guys.
Really appreciate it.
Y'all have a good one.
That is Jay Gaddis from Gaddis Jewelers, the second-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. Jay's looking good, isn't he?
He does.
He looked like he came off a cake, like a wedding cake.
So I did find the details here on the Florida State Stadium. So they are going to be reducing the capacity over all of their stadium because they're widening seats and their aisles and creating more legroom. Apparently people were really jammed into Doak Campbell Stadium before because they're widening seats and increasing legroom and widening the aisles. But for this year, the capacity is just over 50,000, down from its 79,000 is what they listed as capacity-wise. But for this year, it's 50,000. They don't even know what the actual capacity, they've never officially said what the capacity is going down to, but it's believed it'll be between 65 and 70 once they reopen it next season. So, but yeah, for this year, they're down nearly 30,000 from their actual capacity for this season.
So you're saying once it's completed, because I got a text here that said once it's completed, then they go back to more than 80,000.
No, because they're reducing the capacity. They have not announced what it will be, but the idea is it's probably going to be around 70,000 for the 2025 season.
What do they normally draw? Do you know?
I think they sell it out for the most part.
So really, they're going to take a haircut on that. 10,000.
Well, I'm
seats?
sure they're making things nicer. They're probably doing more premium seating, just like everybody else.
Yes,
just like everybody else, you do more
right.
premium seating, so you get more money for less things. It makes it more demand for those things. But they're widening on the east side. The seats apparently were 17 inches wide. They're going to 18. And on the west side, where the skinny people sit, they were only 16 inches wide. They're going to 18 inches wide there. And the leg room between rows is going to go from 27 inches to 34 inches.
So what about if you're 25 inches wide?
Then you probably need to sit on some bench seating. Or you're going to or squeeze in.
Or you're going to be stuffed in there. Are they adding more luxury suites? I'm not sure what the setup is at Doak Campbell.
Yeah,
I'm sure they have a lot of them. But
there's other. Again, like they're adding chairback seats that weren't chairback seats before. I think. I mean, they're making things nicer so that people have to pay more money for them, so that the fewer seats doesn't matter.
Yeah, bigger isn't always better or larger as far as capacity is concerned. That's a great point.
And again, in today's world, we talk about like a lot of these schools have trouble selling out because people aren't as inclined to go to games as they once were. So taking some seats out in order to make them nicer to charge more money, I think a lot of schools would be on board with that.
I think you're right. I mean, obviously, you now are going to tailor towards people with more money. I'm not saying that will keep people that have, on a fixed income out of being able to go to games, because there'll still be some of those seats. But the more and more luxury suites, luxury boxes, chair backs, things of that nature you put in, the more it takes out, again, the normal Joe from buying season tickets. But you're trying to enhance people with money to buy season tickets. And you have to add amenities. You have to do things and think outside the box to be able to make that that day of going to a football game or night going to a football game that enjoyable. You have to, you're battling right now with sitting at home on your couch, watching multiple games, eating food and drinking drinks that are cheap. That's what you're battling right now. Not dealing with parking, not dealing with traffic, not dealing with congestion, not dealing with unruly fans. How are you able to overcome all that? Well, obviously it's got to be a successful program and the love of that program, said program. So that's a challenge, but certainly it's a challenge that can be met, especially when you look at something like these college, and of course it goes the same for pro teams, but for college teams, especially in towns where there's not a lot of other stuff going on, where there's a battle for your entertainment dollar. They are going to back that university. And that goes back to Memphis and what we talked about yesterday with the lack of ticket sales for the game. The city, while we have a lot of people, is a melting pot city with a lot of people from somewhere else. And they perhaps have not caught on to the local team or care to catch on to the local team. That is a challenge because now you're dependent upon the locals, the residents, those born and bred here. And again, what do they want to do with their free time? What do they want to do with any spare money they have? Do they want to use it to go see football or basketball games?
Yeah, and they're the west side, which right now the west side is one that has temporary seating. They've torn out all the seats on the west side. They've got temporary stuff there right now. They said that'll include chairback seating, club seats, loge seats, mid-level box experiences, access to indoor hospitality spaces, climate-controlled amenities, expanded premium food and beverage offerings. So, again, yeah, they're not as worried about the seats as making them more expensive, which is, again, makes sense. And this will be all done and ready to go for their season opener next year when they host Alabama. So they'll be all ready for the Alabama game next season.
When did it start? Is it only affecting this year, or did it affect last year? Had it started last year?
I think they had done some. I think it did affect some last year as well.
I'm just curious. They say it's a $200 million project.
I don't know how much it is.
Did I read that? Let me see. I got a text on that. $200 million renovation. If this information is accurate, $200 million. What is the renovation? What is the price again at FedEx Forum? Not FedEx Forum. Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. $220. So $20 million more. Be curious to see. Compare and contrast with what they're doing there and what they're doing in Memphis. And I'm sure there are other stadiums around the country that also are going under some sort of renovation for all those reasons we just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got to make. You're trying to make more money, or at least the same amount of money, probably off fewer fans.
Yeah, no question about it.
Well, this from the Tampa Bay Times says it's a $265 million renovation.
Okay. So apparently I've gotten bad information on two things now.
Now, that number could have changed, I guess, but this was a story it got approved by the board at $265 million. All
right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back with our final segment. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
To understand what makes Genesis Diamonds so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back over 40 years to the diamond cutting capital of Tel Aviv, Israel. That's where Genesis owner Boaz Ramon grew up, in the center of the diamond universe. His connections with the best diamond cutters allowed him special access, giving rise to a thriving wholesale business here in the United States. Then, after a few years, this wholesaler changed the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices he had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success. Today, Genesis Diamonds provides that extraordinary value to people right here in Middle Tennessee, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best price of any jewelry store in America. Genesis Diamonds, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Genesis Diamonds, luxury pre-owned Rolexes, and popular importance extended.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
I don't think we really need anyone else to help us tell everyone how great Central Barbecue is.
Oh, I don't think we need it either, but I just thought it might be fun to have somebody more famous than us chime in on the best barbecue in Memphis.
Well, did he talk about how Central Barbecue slow smokes its meat for 24 hours to make sure that it's perfectly tender and doesn't need a sauce?
Well, no, not exactly.
Well, did he talk about how there are Central Barbecue locations all over town?
No.
Did you write his copy for him?
I didn't want to be insulting.
So what did he say?
Hi, I'm Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Memphis Tigers. I love Central Barbecue, and I vote. Does that work okay?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:45 is the time. Taking a look at some of the odds for this week's college football matchups. Alabama, Wisconsin, mentioned this earlier. Bama, a 16-point favorite on the road at Camp Randall. LSU and South Carolina. LSU is a 7-point favorite at South Carolina. South Carolina with a really good performance against Kentucky on the road at Commonwealth Stadium. I'm a little surprised at that one, Eli, that it's 7. LSU has not knocked my socks off yet.
I mean, they are expected to be better. And I think they will. They're good. One of those teams that when you're replacing a lot of high-level talent, you've generally at LSU, you replace it with high-level talent, but it could take a few games for you to kind of get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, Nussmeier's looked good so far. Boston College and Mizzou. Mizzou's a 16.5-point favorite. Look, Mizzou's got their quarterback wide receiver combination back in Brady Cook and Luther Burden. Boston College, how physical they played in their win over Florida State. Again, maybe Florida State is not what we thought it is or was going to be. 0-2 to start the year. I still think they're going to be pretty good. But Boston College is certainly capable. Maybe doesn't have the speed, the team speed that Missouri has, but 16.5 points. Interesting. Tulane and Oklahoma. Tulane probably should have beaten Kansas State. They didn't. They go on the road. Oklahoma is not something that I think is going to be in the mix for the playoff. I think they're okay. They're a 14-point favorite over Tulane. I don't think they can win by 14 points.
Yeah, that line is a little bit bigger than I thought it would be, just based off really Oklahoma's performance last week, and Tulane's as well. But I was thinking more in the kind of 10 range. Certainly Oklahoma is capable of it, but yeah, I wouldn't be feeling good betting them minus 14.
Yeah. Texas A&M and Florida in the Swamp. Texas A&M a 4-point favorite. So a lot of road teams are the favorites so far as I've gone through these SEC games. Alabama favorite, LSU a favorite. Boston College is not favored, so Mizzou is favored at home. And then Texas A&M favored over Florida by 4. Arkansas trying to bounce back from the debacle that was the finish of the game against Oklahoma State. They will host UAB. They're a 24-point favorite. Ole Miss, we talked about this earlier with Connor O'Gara, 23-point favorite at Wake Forest. They've covered both their games so far, although Ole Miss probably shouldn't have covered the MTSU game, but I'm glad they did. Kiffin's a cover machine. Wake is okay. First road game for Ole Miss. Again, 23 points. The Rebels are favored by. UTSA, who got demolished by Texas State last week. 35-point favorite, 35-point underdog at Texas. Vanderbilt is a 10.5-point favorite on the road at Georgia State. Georgia is a 24-point favorite over Kentucky at Kentucky.
Well, judging it by Kentucky last week, that doesn't seem like enough.
No, it doesn't. Auburn lost to Cal last week, 28-point favorite over New Mexico at home. Mississippi State trying to bounce back from the loss to Arizona State. They are an 11.5-point favorite at home to 2-0 Toledo. Tennessee, 49-point favorite over Kent State.
Kent State, by the way, I was looking at, I guess it was Chris Vanini in The Athletic, his ranking, because they do the 1 through 134.
Yes.
And I was seeing if he had Temple as last. He actually has Kent State last. Temple is third to last. It's Kent State.
I saw who was 133 was.
I can't remember who 133 is. But Temple's 132. Kent State is last on that.
Yeah, I saw that. The Tigers, as we talked about, they are an 8-point underdog now at Florida State. So that's gone from 6.5 to 8. The over-under number is 52.5.
UTEP.
That's right,
133.
UTEP. Oklahoma State and Tulsa, as they go over some of these American games. Oklahoma State a 20-point favorite on the road at Tulsa. Just 20 points. Oklahoma State favored over Tulsa when Tulsa just lost to Arkansas State this past week.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that Oklahoma State will get Ali Gordon going and want to get Ali Gordon going this week, but there's also there could be a little bit of a letdown after that freakish comeback win that they just had over Arkansas.
It could be, and I know Tulsa, it's like little brother against big brother anytime they play Oklahoma State or Oklahoma. But 20 points, I would think Oklahoma State would be able to cover that one. Texas Tech, 9.5-point favorite over North Texas. Temple, one of those teams we just talked about. They are at home. They are a 17.5-point underdog at home to Coastal Carolina. Oklahoma, we mentioned that one earlier, 14-point favorite over Tulane.
17.5?
Yeah.
Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Arkansas, I mentioned over UAB by 24. Florida International, Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, 5.5-point favorite over Florida International. Charlotte and Gardner-Webb, no line. Gardner-Webb, a 1AA. Texas, we already talked about that one. Against UTSA, Texas a 35-point favorite. Number of games between the SEC and the American. Southern Miss and South Florida. South Florida on the road at Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. They are a 12-point favorite coming off the loss to Alabama, although, again, a lot closer than that score would indicate. Houston is a 4.5-point favorite over Rice. Again, Willie Fritz get his first win.
Certainly they were much better last week than the first week.
They were. Played well defensively, but certainly not on offense. The numbers are in from Tom Brady's debut on Fox Television, America's Game of the Week, the Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. Of course, he had a lot going for him with the Cowboys playing. Plus 46% jump over last season. 23.8 million viewers watch that game. Ranks as Fox's most watched Week 1 NFL telecast since 2020. Ranks as Fox's most watched telecast of any kind since the NFC Championship game. I'm going to think that Tom Brady played a little part in that, but I think for the most part,
the Cowboys.
It was your Cowboys.
Played the biggest part in that.
I would say.
That's actually a little lower than what some people thought they might get up 27, 28 million.
You said yesterday you thought it was a slow start for Tom Brady, but got a little bit more comfortable as the game went along.
Yeah, and I think it's to be somewhat expected. I mean, he's done some practice games or whatever, basically, but you're throwing in there and trying to get comfortable. By the way, the Temple line is up to 18.5, but Coastal Carolina is scoring over 50 in that.
What
game.
did I say it was?
It's 18.5 now. You said it was 17.5.
Oh, okay.
Coastal Carolina is scoring 50. So unless you believe Temple can score at least 32, Coastal Carolina will cover that game. I don't like that. I would have thought that would be a 27-point line. Like, I don't even know how Temple against a team with a pulse should be a 17-point underdog. I mean, Coastal Carolina's not great, but they score points. They put up 55 in their opener.
Right.
Against Jacksonville State.
So you're saying we should all bet this game today?
They put up 40 last week against William and Mary.
Don't you think that number's going to go up?
The Ole Miss line and then that line, I just like. Wake Forest gave up 31 last week to Virginia.
That was a 31-30 game.
Again, I have to believe Ole Miss scores at least 50. Now, maybe Wake Forest could score. Maybe we'll see if we don't know for sure on Ole Miss's defense yet. Like, they've looked good, but they haven't played any offense that has a pulse. So maybe Wake Forest could score against Ole Miss and keep up with them. But Ole Miss is going to score a bunch on Wake Forest. So 23, again, if you believe Ole Miss gets to 50, and Ole Miss might get to 60 or 70 because that's what they do. They get to 50, now you can Wake Forest score 27 against them.
Who do you think has the better offense right now, Tennessee or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
I'm 2 for 2 so far with Ole Miss playing the over. So, I mean, it makes sense to play that one. But you're right about that Temple game.
Ole Miss their game did not go over.
I mean the cover. The cover.
Okay. So the game this week did not go over.
No. I meant the cover. I try not to play over-unders, but the cover. I know it was a little hairy there because MTSU actually had some drives that they couldn't capitalize on. But the Temple game is the one you say jump on.
It almost looks too good to be true, as a matter of fact. You can bet. I think there's just certain teams you bet against every week. Temple's probably one of those, especially against an offense that could score points. Temple can't stop anybody from scoring. So Coastal Carolina puts up points, and they put them up in a hurry. And Temple's offense isn't good enough to keep up. They just can't keep up. They're terrible. Now, again, I think Temple, they're at least in the conversation, but I think Temple might be literally the worst team in America. What did they lose last week? What was their score last week?
I forget. What would the money line be for the Coastal Carolina game?
It's like they're like minus 1,000.
Minus 1,000.
Yeah, they give up 38 to Navy.
Yeah, well, Navy's tricky.
If you give up 38 to Navy, you're giving up 50 to Coastal Carolina.
Okay, if you're plus 1,000, right? This is a gimme. Absolutely 100% Coastal Carolina's beating Temple, right? In your head? Right? In your mind? Boom. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why wouldn't you bet like $1 billion on it? Like, how much would you win? If it's minus 1,000, what would you win for $1 billion? Let's just say $1 million. Just say $1 million. I know they wouldn't take a bet for $1 billion on. What would $1 million? I don't even know if they take a bet for $1 million.
Well, they probably wouldn't, but
let's say if you could, what would you?
You will. It's minus 950, but so
150,000.
It'd be right around 100,000.
$100,000. Just, I mean, if you had an automatic, I guess it's.
You know why? Because Northern Illinois just beat Notre Dame.
That's why.
I mean, it's college football. Like, crazy things happen. Like, there are massive upsets that happen in college football.
That's why we love sports.
I mean, Notre Dame was probably minus 1,500 if you could have got a money line last week.
Yeah.
And
I got
it's not worth that risk for that little return if the craziness does happen and you end up losing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Genesis Diamonds. No risk when you go over to Genesis Diamonds and check out that beautiful selection of jewelry. When you walk in, the place is absolutely immaculate and just case after case of jewelry. All the top designers. every price range, everything you can imagine. It's right there in front of you at Genesis Diamonds with a great staff to help you find exactly what it is that you are looking for. Again, they've got all the top designers, and they'll tell you what the differences are between all of those. They'll also take you through their massive selection of diamonds, tell you different shapes and cuts and everything that you're looking for, what affects prices. They'll make you a smarter jewelry shopper, whether you're buying from them or from somebody else. They're just going to make you smarter when it comes to buying jewelry when you go talk to the folks at Genesis Diamonds. You don't have to compromise. You don't have to settle. You can get the best at Genesis Diamonds. They also have the state's largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. You'll find it all at Poplar and Perkins Extended Genesis Diamonds.
That's going to do it for us. Our thanks to Connor O'Gara and Jonah Dillon for joining us today. We're back tomorrow, starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Among our guests, Jerry Palm from CBS Sports and DeMichael Cole on the Grizzlies from the Commercial Appeal. Wallo and Friends on Sports 56 is next for Eli and Zach. I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.